This is another lack of parental emotional regulation. NBA analyst Matt Barnes fired after a youth game viral video. What did Matt do? Well, I can show you better than I can tell you. Now, did this happen in the NBA Finals? Is it the Celtics versus the Lakers? Everything's at stake. A world championship is at stake here. It wouldn't be right then, but we've seen it before. Now this happened at a high school game. Former NBA star turned NBA analyst Matt Barnes removed from Sacramento Kings TV broadcast lineup on NBC Sports California. Barnes was in his third season as a studio analyst at NBC Sports California after joining the Kings broadcast team in 2021. Change comes weeks after Barnes was seen yelling at officials, confronting a student play-by-play announcer at his son's high school basketball game in Los Angeles. Emotional regulation, it didn't exist, not on this day, not in this instance. There's more. Barnes attended the game between Crespi Carmelite and Harvard Westlake. Los Angeles Times reported Barnes engaged in Harvard Westlake student announcer Jake Lancer during the school's live stream broadcast after one of his sons was whistled for a technical foul. Video posted, social media showed Barnes putting his right hand on Lancer's shoulder before other adults intervened. Barnes allegedly threatened to slap Lancer. Details from the Sacramento Bee. When reporter Tarek Fatal referenced the game in a series of photos, the person at the game made the following accusations towards Barnes. And I want to get this just right. What you all are failing to report is Barnes going up to our broadcaster, a high school senior, grabbing his shoulder while questioning what he's saying on the live stream after he calls the ref a bee multiple times because his son got attacked. Barnes would respond to the woman saying, well, shut your ass up. I was talking to the ref, not you or that kid that decided to say some slick S. Don't let that privileged HWS go to your head. IDGAF. You know what it means. Who your son is. Guess this is Matt Barnes. You know, he's saying I'm a real one. Shortly thereafter, videos of the incident made it online. Lancer told freelance sports reporter Jack Pollan. He said, what do you think you're looking at? And I said, you're screaming, you're a blank to the refs mid-game while I'm trying to announce. Don't touch me. And then he said, I'll slap the S out of you. Dad. Come on, Dad. Barnes discussed the incident during a recent appearance on the Dan Le Batard show. Quote, I was yelling at the refs, Dan. I've yelled at the refs my entire college career. My 15-year NBA career, Barnes said. I coach AAU in the summertime. I have high school boys, and I have a 5-year-old coming down the pipeline. So I'm going to be doing a lot of yelling at the refs. This particular incident, I will say my one mistake was putting my hand on the student broadcaster's shoulder. A lot of people want to say I grabbed this kid or I did this. I literally put my hand on this kid's shoulder because it was almost like I was talking to my son. Oh, goodness. This requires court intervention. If this is, well, he said it. This is from the Dan Le Batard show and the Sacramento Bee. He continued. He told me to sit my A down. I was just like, why do you feel comfortable to be able to tell a grown man to sit his A down? Well, I have a thought. Do grown men behave this way? It's a rhetorical question. So he and I had a little back and forth. I obviously admitting my faults, even touching was wrong of me, but I want to make clear that the narrative of me is some guy that beats up people. Who is ex-NBA player who beats up people for 500, please? Okay. I shouldn't be, listen, I'm just going to give you the facts. I want people to know I didn't body slam this kid. I didn't choke slam him. I didn't do any of the sort. I literally put my hand on his shoulder like I was talking to one of my sons. Again, alert, guardian ad litem. And again, for touching him, I was wrong. But I just didn't like the disrespect that came with the entitlement where they felt they could say anything to me. Lancer denied saying anything disrespectful to Barnes following the incident, tweeting, "Last comment on the situation last night. I want to make it very clear that I never told him to shut up or anything close to that. He came up to me. All I wanted to do in the moment was get back to announcing the championship game." So it was a championship game at the high school level. I don't even know if it matters. I'm making too much of that. You just don't have to behave in this manner. Now, Barnes doesn't appear to be dismayed by the dismissal, as he still co-runs All the Smoke Productions that just added a new lineup of talent for their podcast. And this is wildly successful. He's doing big things with his podcast and still catching a lot of smoke when he's not doing the podcast. He has a colorful history. We don't know what goes on in I don't know what goes on in people's relationships, but there have been other instances with Matt Barnes. I think you can move beyond your past and seek a new beginning. What he does, though, Yasmin, acknowledge he did, is enough for me. Okay. He's yelling at the refs and he's basically saying, don't even ask me about that. I've been did that my whole life. That doesn't make it okay, does it? Do we make allowances for people who been yelling at the refs their entire career?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. This is not much of anything that I can relate to because I feel like this type of behavior between an adult and a child is unacceptable. But I also feel like incidents like this get excused when it comes to sports, all in the name of sports. Like we just saw Travis Kelsey yell at and push his coach at the Super Bowl. And
That
then
part.
when Travis started to catch heat for it in the media, the coach came out and said, no, it's fine. I love that Travis feels like he and I can have this type of relationship.
He's
So
passionate.
yeah, like I have no idea. It's obviously different though, whenever these things happen involving kids or even in front of kids or around kids. These parents need to be more responsible for their actions. They can't be the adults in the room acting like this. They can't be the role models to these kids. And I get that they're passionate, as you said, because they want their kids to get into a good college with a good scholarship. And they want their kids to be set up for the NBA or whatever. But again, it's like what we were talking about in the last story. We really need to re-examine our priorities in this country.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and let's remember we've overlooked one little tidbit here. His son got a technical foul.
Mm-hmm.
Now, mostly you get technical fouls for some kind of behavior that's out of bounds. It's not about, oh, you dribbled it and hit your foot or you traveled. It's because you said or did something that is unacceptable. Okay. And I'm so glad you brought up Andy Reid and Travis Kelsey. If you're not a sports fan, Andy Reid is the winning coach of the Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl winning team. Mm-hmm. He's the one that kind of looks like the guy who eats all the hamburgers from Popeyes. Who is that character? Wimpy? What's the character who eats the hamburgers? And he's a great coach.
I think it's Wimpy.
Yeah.
Wimpy's the
he
kid.
Looks like, well, he eats all the hamburgers in Popeyes, if you're not familiar.
I know the girl with olive oil.
Okay. And so Travis Kelsey in the middle of the game, something's not going his way.
Wimpy, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, it is. He bumps him. He almost knocks him over. And nothing to see here. And when I saw it, I said, okay, here we go. I wasn't like going to go overboard with it, but I also know if Travis Kelsey or a certain black player, we'd have, Joe Buck or someone in our ear doing the commentary saying something like, oh, that's a disgusting display of the game. I mean, T.O. took the popcorn and, and then he was doing the thing with the cheerleaders. And this was, oh my goodness. Okay. I'm just saying. I'm glad you brought it up.